breaking details. Bottom of the screen, the NASDAQ, really rough day today, down about 2.5% here with 4 minutes of trade to go. Doug Flynn joins us, co-founder at Flynn Zito, and it started off okay. I think people are optimistic about earnings, but then the manufacturing data was not great. What's going on today?
Claims are up to like a one-year high, and the manufacturing activity is like an 8-month low. So you got weaker economic data, and now everybody's saying the Federal Reserve waited too long to cut rates. So the market's like, you didn't move fast enough, and so we're selling off at this point, and that's what's going on today.
What would you say heading for the worst trading day since May in the Dow for people saying or bringing up the discussion about economic slowdown, recession, that kind of thing that had gone away? Is it back? Are we talking about it again, or?
I think it's always been there in the backdrop that the economy has been slowly slowing. I mean, that's what the Fed tried to do by raising rates as much as they did and then keeping them as high as they have for this long over the past year. That's what they wanted to do, is kind of choke the economy into slowing down inflation. So that's the tightrope they're trying to walk, is you slow it down enough, but not too much where you go into a recession. But now it's slowing down a little bit faster. And so now you're up against, there's no more meetings until September. That's why the market's really clamoring for September's got to be the one. Now, then you get into politics. Is that going to be the one you want to do right before the election? And do you wait till November to get on the other side of it? Because the November meeting is actually the day after the election. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, it might be some pressure publicly, but I still would be surprised. Wouldn't you, if they don't cut in September? You still think they will, right?
I would think so.
Yeah.
Whether they do or they don't, it's politics at this point. And,
right.
And I think it needs to be cut. So, I mean, they could say, let's not do anything in September and then do 2 times as much, like 50 basis points in November. It would have the same effect. A lot of people don't realize is that whether they're raising or cutting, it does take about 9 to 18 months to work its way into the system. So whether they cut, whether they cut in September or November, it's still going to be a while before we see the impact. But the market is a forward-looking mechanism, and it's anticipating, and it needs that to keep the future growth going.
But to your point about politics, election year, it only takes 9 to 18 seconds for it to work its way into the political conversation. So that maybe they do consider that. They always say that they're apolitical. So whatever. Now let's talk about technology for a few minutes, because right before the closing bell, I said the Nasdaq's getting hammered today, and on Amazon and Apple report tonight. Meta, Facebook's parent company, had good numbers last night. What do we expect?
Yeah, they did. I mean, they had strong earnings in their advertising business, and they actually are one of the few companies that invested in AI, and it's actually paying off. And that's the funny thing that we're seeing now is people have, I mean, the patience level is so thin right now that all this AI investment, now people are switching to, it's not enough to tell me you're investing in AI. I want to see results now. And so, interestingly, 1 quarter ago, Meta had said, we're spending so much on AI, it's going to hurt our earnings. So it kind of drove the stock down last quarter. And now they're saying, oh, it's actually showing signs and turning into positive. So now their stock is rallying, where all the other companies now haven't shown that yet. And that's why they're getting hit hard. So
like
they're going to have to start showing it.
Which is, speaking of AI, is the poster child for AI, I guess, been all over the map, hasn't it, this week?
Yeah, it's actually off about 20% from its high about a month ago from that high that it hit. So and that's exactly what's going on now. People are saying, are they going to stop investing as much into it, and that's going to directly impact Nvidia, and that's why we're saying yes. The funny thing about today is, while the equity markets are getting hammered, guess what? The bond market is positive again today. So that's what's happening. People are looking around and saying, maybe I don't want to have all this money in this, or I'm going to wait for some better opportunities now that things are off a little bit, or wait till they even get a little bit weaker before they start going back in.
Putting that 10-year yield below 4%. All right, Doug, thank you, Doug Flynn, on that. Let's